Hi, welcome to Patriot Nightcap. I'm on with my friend Beth Maree and David's friend, Beth, Nino's friend. And it's great to see you, Beth. Welcome to Patriot Nightcap. It's been exactly 1 year since the last time I spoke to you. Let me just read a little caption from the Patriot series. Thank you, Nino book that Beth wrote. Okay, Beth Maree books guests for David. She has 6 daughters, 5 granddaughters. So far, Beth lives on the beach in Malibu with her husband, Paul, their cat, Tittles. She's the author of Happy Trump. I love that. Author of Happy Trump, Melania Rules, Go Barron, the Think for Yourself series, and Love, Joy, Trump, too, which is what we spoke about the last time. But I have to say, Beth, this is so cute. I can't.
Oh, I'm so happy you like it.
I got it on Amazon. I was like, no way. This was like such a great idea. And did David get his? I think he got his,
Yeah,
didn't
yeah, he did. Got his. Yeah, I think he liked it. I think he's a little embarrassed of it or something. You know what I mean? He hasn't like
Oh,
held
come
it up.
on. And by the way, thanks for the mention.
Oh yeah, there you go. I had to put that in there.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, that's so cute.
Yeah,
No,
I've been having a
that's
lot of fun
adorable.
because I just felt like, we know things are happening and coming down, and soon all this is going to be exposed, and then we're going to be rebuilding, we're going to be moving forward, and so I just thought of having like this little series, even now, for kids to read to for parents to read to their kids about what's really going on.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's why I did, that Happy Trump,
Oh,
I got
yeah.
Happy Trump and Melania Rules
I love it. Look at you. And you know what?
and Go Barron. It's just like all positivity stuff
Yeah,
about
which we
everything.
need that.
Yeah, and all the things that we know are happening, like the Derek Johnson, the laws and orders, the real commander in chief, what's actually
Yeah.
going on. And
Yeah.
to be able to share that with the kids too.
And the fact that you just, you break it down, it's simple. We need, you're right. We need the positivity. Okay,
Yeah.
so what's your take on what's happening now with Trump and everything? I wanted to talk to you about that because the last time we spoke, you're like, Trump is the wrecking ball. Give us some,
Here we go.
you're a
Here we go.
wealth of knowledge.
Here's my book, Love, Joy, Trump, and I got a little
Yes.
journal to go with it. Love, Joy, Trump, to write down your own experience, of the ride.
Yeah.
Um, Well, I just feel like everything that was in that book is coming true. Like God was right, obviously, and it's always His timing,
Yeah.
and everything's unfolding. And then, of course, with Derek Johnson coming along, I mean, he shows us the practical. If we take the time to listen,
Yeah.
most of it's like, oh, we just want like a. But if we look at it and we see what he's saying, it shows us how, in real laws and orders, and in real time, Trump has always been in control. We've
Hmm.
been at war since before he even came down the escalator. All these things are psyops. That fake inauguration was the wrong weather. Most of us caught that. You know,
Yeah.
he points out how they gave him a funeral salute instead of a presidential one. They gave Trump
Right.
all these things. And so really we have no excuse to ever be like freaked out by the fake news, because if we really accept what's happening. But at the same time, we know we're in this war of good versus evil. It's a spiritual war. And we know, I just loved learning all the things going back, in all the Bible and the extra biblical books about this is really between the fallen angels
Hmm.
who mated with the human women, created the Nephilim. And that is actually where all the current day secret societies, that's them. It's
Hmm.
a bloodline war against humanity that God created. And this satanic Canaanite kind of demonic bloodline. And they actually think they can rush the throne room of God. And,
Hmm.
that's not going to happen, but they're still trying. I mean,
Hmm.
that's the whole thing of back when they built the Tower of Babel and God changed the languages. And before the flood, they were doing all the same thing they're trying to do now with the bestiality. Have you seen lately the girl recording wanting to have sex with dogs? And I mean, the point is,
Out of
well,
control.
well,
It's out
it's
of
like,
control.
yeah, it's
Yeah.
like in the 60s. I mean, my husband and I, we were, of the swinging 60s.
Yeah. Yeah.
I look back now and I realized even that was all a ploy with the Tavistock Institute. They created that with Timothy Leary, the Beatles. A lot of that stuff was to really, make us morally degenerate.
Yeah. Well,
And,
but I have to admit, Beth, like, I still get completely floored. And like when I saw the whole Dalai Lama thing,
oh,
just,
yeah.
I'm like, oh,
Yes, I knew
geez.
about him like 6 years ago with Keith Raniere. They paid him $1 million to go there with their Nexium sex cult. And I have a girl here in Malibu. Her mother She was in that cult. Her mother got her out of it. Catherine Oxenberg, you've probably heard of her. She's an actress. And she got her daughter India out of it. She was friends with my daughter Alea, but they were branding women, and he was all on with it. And the point is, it's funny. I knew from the beginning he was a New World Order in the cult because everyone loved him. All of Hollywood loved him. He was at all the trendy around Malibu, oh, the Dalai Lama. And it's like something about him I just knew.
Wow.
And
I have to admit, I was floored.
Yeah, no, because a lot of people I've embraced Buddhism, right? I'm a friend. I have a friend, she's her name's Dharamata. She's changed her name into a Buddhist name, and she's a wonderful person, and she just teaches meditation, all beautiful things. But it's like everything is infiltrated, just like the Catholic Church is infiltrated, just like all the prosperity preachers, and Board of Education. I mean, down to the simplest. Everything's been infiltrated.
Yeah.
So
I studied Buddhism for a while, and I think I took David to something. We stopped at some Buddhist, I don't know, retreat or something. When it came down to it, and I remember it was really funny because David looked at me and he goes, "Nah, I'm sticking with the guy who walks on water. This doesn't do this for me." And I was like, you know what? You're right.
I love that about David. I love how he's got that, even though he explores everything.
Yeah.
It's like that heart, like Jim Caviezel does, like, he's,
yeah. And then I had my moment where I was like, wait a minute. Okay, I can meditate forever. And then, this idea that, your God is inside you, or you are God, or something. I'm like, but what about repenting for your sins? There was none of that. Anyway, it just didn't. I'm like, no, this doesn't work for me. This doesn't work for me. I appreciate what you guys are doing, but this doesn't work for me.
And it can be a path towards something else. You know what I mean? A lot of people can come this through their Buddhism.
Yeah.
But it is amazing how my mind just went because we're thinking so many things. But
there's so much going on, Beth. There's so much going on. I feel like we're at the.
I know what you said about the thing.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, but God is within us. But we're not God. That's the huge difference between the false light and the authentic Christ within. I mean, and they're always trying to twist it, and get you to the false light thing. I mean, the whole New Age thing. I mean, I was into a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
And yet now, and I'm not throwing everybody in the New Age, under the bus either, because again, this is so big, and God is so big. Christ is so big that we don't have to judge this stuff. It's going to be handled. But yeah, I mean, right now the deception is it's like all we can do is with every breath, take it deeper and let the Holy Spirit discern for us and live in that, like walk in the Holy Spirit is the only way.
Beth, I think it's so important because I was at church on Sunday. Like, you really do have to go and renew yourself and commit. Because you know what I mean? Life is hard enough. And then with all of the stimulation and everything that's being thrown at us constantly. And then I got to wake up to the Dalai Lama wanting some kid to suck his tongue. I'm like, I can't with this. Like what is happening? And
all that's beautiful too. That's what I love about all the different practices, actually, specifically within Catholicism that I love. But I love confession too, because I mean, that's one of the reasons AA works is the confession part.
Yes.
Redemption of the sins and making amends, living amends.
Right.
Once we get sober, we make living amends. I mean, I was even talking to my family this weekend. I said, I wish I got sober 25 years ago, because we talk about things that went on, when I wasn't sober. I got sober 12 years ago.
Yeah.
And now I can't go back and change it, but I can make living amends.
Yes. Right. And you know what? It's something that I was listening to our pastor talk about, repentance. He's like, well, you can sit there and say, okay, well, sorry. And then you do the exact same thing the next day. No, I'm sorry. You're not really sorry. That's not repentance.
Exactly.
You have to really.
You have to also say, what can I do to make up for it? Like if you say, I'm sorry, it has to, and that's tough, that part.
That's the kicker right there, Beth. And that's when, like when someone hurts you or you feel, and you never receive I'm really sorry. Yes. What can I do to make up for it? I won't do that again. But when you don't hear that and you just get sort of I'm sorry, it's not the same.
And that's where the magic happens too. That's where the magic happens. That's where the other person, their love, they will forgive you, if you make that effort to say, what can I do?
To make up. And you feel that sincerity and it's authentic. Then you know what? Then it's all good.
It is all good most of the time.
It's true.
It's kind of like when you're in the program, you're working your steps. They tell you, look, if someone doesn't want, a lot of people say, get the hell out of my office. I don't ever want to see you again. But
you tried.
You have to be prepared for that. And then it's still, at least you did your part.
You did your part. You did your part. And you've been sober now for over 10 years, right? Because it was
almost 12. Almost 12.
Almost 12.
Yeah. And
Amazing.
It's funny because my spiritual life has really expanded, even though I had that before. It's just that the thing is about alcoholism, it's a analogy of the body, an obsession of the mind, and a spiritual malady. It's a
wow. Say that again. Allergy of the body.
Allergy of the body. It's a physical allergy to alcohol. First of all, we don't process it.
1000% believe that. It's funny because I tell yes, and I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. But
90% of people do, but 10% of people don't. And in fact, when we drink it, it turns into acetaldehyde in our body. The only way it can deal with it is to crave more. So that sets us up right there. Then the obsession of the mind, which is like a mental illness, which we have, comes in. And the spiritual malady, I kind of hated that because I already had God. Like in 1981, God grabbed me by the back of the neck and said, let's go. I'm like, well, why do I have a spiritual malady still? But all these priests get it. All these people that really have given themselves to Christ and they're still alcoholics. That's the frustration I had, because it is this spiritual malady. And it only sorts out when you really surrender completely and do those 12 steps, which are like a redemption process, where you're willing to, basically, it's like stay sober and help another alcoholic. Like God owns you at that point, it's like a complete surrender.
It's complete surrender. Yeah, that's what it is.
But then there's all the blessings come on that side, because every day, if you get up and do as you're directed by God, it's a beautiful day. It's only when you try to take your will back, our free will is amazing, but it needs to be in alignment with God's will for us.
Yeah.
We're like superpowers. I mean, look at your brother. He's a perfect example of how now that he's doing God's will.
Yeah.
Things are really good.
And it's such a relief. I find that, like, when I go into church and I sing and I praise God and I don't know, I cry, I get emotional, but I think it's the part of me that just wants to release, some things, and then when you really do just give it over to God, you do feel that peace, or I do when I walk out.
And it's funny because we were made for that. We were made to sing the praises. That literally is what we were made for. Like that is what we do best.
Yeah.
Everything else is not as good as that, what we can do that. And that's what I love also. Remember, I always talk about Prem, Prem Rawat, hear yourself.
Yes.
What I love about Prem is that he talks about being in heaven here while you're on the earth. And he said a lot of people get mad at him because they all want to know what's going to happen after they die. And it's like, he says, and his focus is just live in heaven right here, right now. Not in some new age weird way, but within yourself, knowing your creator and like experiencing that gratitude and joy with every breath. And somehow, I don't know how it works, somehow that knowledge offers me that. I mean, practicing this knowledge of the self, it's called, which is free and priceless. You just have to ask for it.
Yeah.
It's funny. It's brought me closer to Jesus Christ. It's brought me closer to Mary. It brought me closer to the Holy Spirit. And it's a practice, kind of just like, okay, this is a good way to describe it. Just like I still need to treat my ism. I can't just go, oh, I'm not an alcoholic anymore. I'm just going to go be, whatever, Catholic and happy and practice knowledge and all that. I'll start to find that I'll get this weird, I'll be negative, I'll feel impending doom, all the symptoms of alcoholism. Do you know what I mean? I'll feel them because it is a mental illness. And then I have to go help another alcoholic, go to a Zoom meeting, listen to the big book, and those things treat that. Then I can get back to like, okay, I want to be the best Beth I can be. And then I practice knowledge, and then I listen to my rosaries all night, or I'll learn things, expand my understanding. So, but it is funny. So we have these different parts of us that we have to come almost treat. But it's beautiful to have all these tools to, and that's what we were made for too. See, that's what I love too about this knowledge. It's 4 techniques to go inside: light, sound, word. The light is the light inside you that's brighter than all the sun or all that. The light, that's why you go inside to experience it. The sound is the sound of creation inside of you. And the word is that holy word. Like in the beginning was the word, and the word was with God. This is that word that's in us before any books were written. I mean, Christ wasn't banging people over the head with the Bible. He was offering an experience. They felt him. Right. And then the last one is that living waters. Christ talked about that too, the living waters inside of you. So somehow this is happening now, and there's millions of people around the world that have this knowledge. In fact, he goes into prisons, all the people that have like no hope, they're never getting out.
Yeah.
This knowledge, and they're experiencing bliss and peace, inside of prison. In fact, some get out and they say, I want to come back and finish the course. It's called the Peace Education Program. And then I want to come help other people get this. And so anyway, I'll give you the links to those too.
Oh, yes. No, please do. Peace Education Program.
Yeah, you can find it at, the Peace Education Program, you can find that at premrawat.com.
Okay.
And then click PEAK, which is for peace education and knowledge.
Okay. And I'm gonna post that because I feel like that can help.
Love this. And then
a lot of people.
His site, the premrawatfoundation.org. I'll send you that too. It's tprf.org.
Okay. Okay, thank you for that.
You can go on there and you can see people all over the world. Like he goes to places where there's gangs killing each other.
Wow.
Through the Peace Education Program, they're all saints. I'm not kidding. We should
be teaching this in our schools,
Exactly. They are. Some schools are teaching it. There's some in Colorado, and the results are amazing, because the thing is, it's just even like, it's like there's no bullies. If even like the steps, if you work through that, you're only a bully because you're hurt, right? Hurt people.
Right. Right.
People that are bullies have been bullied, and
right.
And we have such infinite power in ourselves to be like to be our God self, not to be God.
Yeah.
To be full of God. Like, in fact, empty of ourself, empty of our ego, like the St. Francis prayer, right? That's a great one.
Yes, it is.
Dying to ourselves. And see, that's the difference between the walk with Christ and the true light and the new age. I'm going to be God, get your own universe.
Right.
Yeah.
Didn't do it for me. And you know what? I think you don't have to be an alcoholic or have we all have our issues or whatever your addiction is or whatever. Everybody has the monkey on the back. I don't care who you are, whatever it is. So whatever degree of mental illness or whatever you want to call it, we can all learn, and everybody has those days where you feel this impending doom.
Right. And everybody has that inside of them, that hope and joy. In fact, I love what he says, even when I'm feeling like my most happy, he says, you're just licking the envelope. It's like, there's so much more, but he says, I love this. He says, how rich is a man that lives on a gold mine if he never mines the gold? And that's why he basically always just says, practice, practice, practice. Like once you receive this knowledge, practice. And once you do, you feel so good. I mean, just to share my own experience, every day around probably 3 p.m, I'm like that battery is run out. I'm just like,
yeah.
And I practice.
I drink and sustain.
Yeah, no, I know. Well, I did in the past, but it's funny, or even having a cup of coffee and sugar, right? Helps. Yeah. But the fun difference about practicing the knowledge is like you go in, and what I love about this, like all the other meditations, everything people telling you, great. But guess what? I would never be able to do those things at all. That's what I love about this knowledge. When I start to practice the first technique, within 10 minutes, Beth is gone, my head, the mind, and I'm just inside here with God.
Right.
That's what's so brilliant about it, because the mind cannot go where this place in the heart is. Mind can't go there. And isn't that what we all want, to shut off our mind?
Yeah.
Shut that voice.
I do that around 6 o'clock in the morning. I say my prayers and I meditate. Yeah. Do you do that again at 3, like later in the afternoon? Yeah,
I kind of have an addiction to it, really, but it's a great addiction because
that's a great addiction.
And then in the afternoon I do it, and it's the cool thing is when I come out, I'm literally full. Like I feel this cup inside of me running over, like flowing over, like it says in the scriptures, my cup runneth over. I think David
runneth over. Yeah.
And that's the feeling I get from this practice, as simple as that. And it's funny because when I first got it, I met a lot of people. They were having these great light experiences and all this and that. And I thought, I don't even care. I feel inner peace. That's all I want.
That's all I want.
I don't need to see, I don't know.
Don't we all want that? Don't we all just want inner peace?
And the funny thing is, that's what it was made for. Just like we're thirsty we have water. God gave us water, right? For thirst. Hunger, food. This self-knowledge, knowledge of the self was for our spiritual thirst inside.
So what is the meditation that you do?
Well, it's basically 4 techniques to go inside, and I can't show them to you because they're not mine to give. Prem is the one that gives this right now. Now, throughout history, I don't know, some of your audience might get a little funny now and say, like, Christ gave these techniques to his disciples. Now, of course, we've got so much going on with like how the Bible's been reinterpreted so many times, so, I'm not trying to take anything away from Jesus Christ because I love him totally. But what I'm saying is that Prem, and I'm not saying Prem is Jesus. In fact, that'd be the last thing he'd want me to say. I'm just saying somehow he has a gift to give, that these techniques, which you can check out yourself because you'll see for yourself and you'll try them. And yeah, it's just fantastic. And see, that's the thing that's different about him, which is hard to talk about. Everybody else is in the library with the words. He's in the kitchen with the food. I mean, if this didn't work like the way I'm telling you, I wouldn't be telling you.
Absolutely. No,
as a mother who raised 6 daughters, I could never have been some great meditator. And yet all my kids knew Mom has to meditate. Then we go do this A, B, C, D.
Oh, really?
Whatever that was, and they grew up with listening to Prem on like audio tapes and stuff, because just even when, hearing Timeless Today is another website that's good to listen to, timelesstoday.com.
Okay.
And even the funny thing is, if you just listen to him, something in your heart will come out to listen, which I don't have that. You don't have that if you're listening to CNN or a lot of other things. There's a little ear. In fact, when I went, I'll give you a little nutshell. When I first heard about this knowledge, I was in Malibu and I thought, oh, wow, that's really cool, but I'm not interested. It's just me and God. I don't need that, right? I went around the world 3 times. Everywhere I went, I met someone with this knowledge.
Really?
And everyone, they're telling me to get this knowledge. I'm like, no, I got God, me and God. I don't need anyone else. And then eventually I ended up in Miami in a library, and this guy sat down next to me. He said, I'm going to see Prem tonight. Do you want to come?
Oh my gosh.
I said, oh my God, let me just get this guy out of the way, because everywhere I go, everyone's telling me. And when I went to see him that night, a little in my heart came out and just said, yes. Like when he said, do you want knowledge? Yes. And then I just got knowledge the next day, and I never looked back. And it's only brought me closer to Christ and to Mary and to the Holy Spirit. And how it works, I don't know. That's what you should ask.
That's mystery. Yeah, everybody has to discover that for themselves.
But the funny thing is, there's millions of people around the world now practicing this and having the same experience. And that's what I love. It's like people. And the funny thing is, it's interesting. The people that are the most organic, like to the earth, like when he goes to Africa, the Africans, they jump out of their seats. Like they literally just jump, their hearts jump them out of their seats. Wow. Of just a natural organic love for what he's offering.
I'm going to have to check this out.
Yeah. And we in the West, we're like a little slower because we're so intellectual. Yeah. We're like,
maybe we just think too much. We think too much. We analyze too much. We get in our heads.
We have all these devices. Yeah, we have.
And then what you think about dictates your mood, It's
so funny because he started out in India as a little boy, and his father had given the knowledge before him, and he said, you're going to take it to the world. And he came to England when he was 12, and then LA when he was 15. And he purposely went to Catholic school in India to learn English so he could tell everyone about knowledge. Isn't that funny?
That is funny.
He's got no religion. He's got nothing. And the great thing is, you receive this knowledge and you run with it. There's no club, there's no cult, there's no religion. It's just you experience yourself, which is so fresh air, because that's really. And then guess what? You realize, and then you kind of takes away the fear of death, because you're kind of living in heaven on earth. And then you know that whatever the next heaven is, it's going to be good because you're already in heaven here.
Absolutely. You want to know something, Beth? It's so true though, because like I often think about my sister and my older sister. Patricia. And Patrice, yeah, and I believe this to be true. You have to love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, I don't know how you love other people. You know what I mean? She didn't have I don't believe she had a genuine love for herself, and you do. That is an important. You love Christ and your higher being and your higher power, but if you don't love yourself, then there's problems.
And also because you're loving them in you. Do you know what I mean? Like you're loving your creator inside of you. That's like your baby that that little Jesus inside of you.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's so much criticism in the world, like criticism, doubt, mistrust, and deception, that I think you
Yes. Well,
gotta,
that's been purposely created, right? Because we're in a battle between
yeah.
God and Satan,
Yeah.
between Christ and Satan. And it is interesting how, yeah, and the only just that's why we have a heart. See, a lot of Christians go crazy about the heart too. Have you heard Christians that say, "Oh, the heart's deceptive"? I mean, some of these Christians, Protestant ones, they always say, "Oh, the heart is deceiving," because I try to tell them about knowledge. Going on, it says, no, but there is a good part of the heart. Just like that little. Do you remember that little tale about the Indian? The young Native American. He asked his grandfather about the grandfather said, "There's two wolves inside of you, a good wolf and a bad
Which
wolf."
one do you feed?
Yeah, well, that's it. I mean, that's what this
Yeah.
is about. The good and evil is inside of us. We're not,
Yeah.
all good. In fact, it was a perfect example when I started going down the path of the darkness. I was doing things that were not worthy of me being, that I needed to repent for.
Yeah.
And then when I go on this path of trying to be a saint, like the Catholicism says, everyone is called to be a saint. We can all be saints, which is a beautiful thing because all the saints that I read about, they're all happy and they all feel that love that I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and I love that. So it's which one we feed.
It's which one do you,
Always
which
our
one do you
choice.
to
And I
feed?
love to, and the thing is what Prem says, I love, he said, we're at a crossroads with every breath, like every breath we're choosing, and then to put us in that moment, it's our lifetime is really just, tomorrow never comes. It's a fantasy.
Yeah.
And yesterday is gone. But if we embrace this breath, this moment, this day, that creates the amazing future for us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just like if we do all the negative stuff, we'll probably create consequences. We will.
Yeah, for sure we will.
And then we'll have to deal
There's always consequences, with every action, with every decision that you make, there's consequences,
And I love too what he says, like this knowledge, it's like having a flashlight. Like, let's say you're in a dark room, in a hotel room, you just went and you don't know the furniture where anything is, and you've never been there before. You start stubbing your toes. But he said it's not like the knowledge is going to take away all the obstacles in your life, but it's going to give you a flashlight so that you can see.
Guide.
Around the obstacles. You know what I mean? You can't get rid of your obstacles. But if you're in this knowledge, if you're in consciousness, if you're in the clarity, you can go around the obstacles.
I love that. I love that.
I'm so happy we got to talk about it. My husband's over here like, man, he thinks I'm going.
What are you talking about?
That's the whole point. I mean, this is one of the best things happening on the planet.
Yes.
It's an open, it's not a secret. It's open. Yeah. It's just the reason he's not out there filling stadiums. First of all, he'd probably already be executed. Second of all, he doesn't do it it's not for money. If he was charging, he'd be one of these Tony Robbins.
Wow. Yeah. He doesn't charge. You just go and see him, and
you just basically you don't even have to go see him. You can basically listen and go to that site I told you. You can, and there's a little thing that takes you like 10 seconds to ask for knowledge.
I'm doing it today, Beth. Yeah, I'm doing it today.
It's funny. My whole family, and again, it's when you feel it. Like my two youngest daughters, they just asked for it like last year during COVID. And then they got it and they're enjoying it. And then one of my daughters was in Hawaii and she had done an ayahuasca trip. And then she called me up. She goes, Mama, I want knowledge. Like, okay, and took everything. And so it's all unique. My stepson, he was like 33 and it just happens at the right time. But I
can't believe I haven't heard of this before.
I know, that's what I said. In fact, this is so cute because it's so beautiful because that's what I said, because I heard about it when I was 27 and I'm like, how could I have not heard about this?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm thinking right now. I'm like, wait a minute.
And it's funny. One things I said too, it's amazing. I remember saying, well, I didn't think I would find anything. I thought I would just seek my whole life. I never thought I would find anything. And this was like something that real that, and then it was like, okay, then the next thing, once you have it, then it's up to you to, again, mine the gold, right? Mine the gold. You can be as rich as you want to be.
Mine the gold. Mine the gold. I love that.
Be as happy as you want to be. And, it's incredible. So I'm so happy I got to share that with you. That really
me too. Me too. I'm just so happy to see you. And I can't believe it's literally been 1 year.
And it was meant to be that we're back together.
Yes.
Now that we're talking about that, this is funny too, because we came here. This is Paul's book, Heaven at Last.
Oh my goodness.
Heaven at Last. And the funny thing is we have two versions. Heaven at Last is the Audible. It's on Audible, Heaven at Last. and this is Delacour of the Heart, which means of the heart,
Of the heart.
paperback. And this book came to him when I met him in April of '83. I was pregnant with our first daughter, Selah. Came to him totally like divine. As I was typing it out, everything in there I already knew about Prem.
Really?
I mean, there's stories in there that I knew were true about Prem that happened in different places when he was a child and different things.
Oh my gosh,
So
Beth, you get this, you have these divine inspired moments, don't
and the
you?
funny thing, even though it's a spiritual adventure, it's a novel, I can tell you there's facts in there. There's
Oh yeah.
facts in there. And the funny thing is too, we came here to make this movie in 1983, right? We came here pregnant to make this movie and thinking, oh, we're going to make it like this year, right?
Yeah.
Everyone in Hollywood was like, we love it, we love it, we love it. Oh, but we can't make it. Why? Oh, because, basically because it was totally run by Satanists, all this time.
Yeah,
so we're
right.
getting to the point now, as this old Hollywood goes down, the new Hollywood is coming up.
Okay, so speaking of which, because we have made some steps forward, right? The Sound of Freedom was finally picked up
I saw
by
that
Angel
story.
Studios or something.
Yeah,
Rob Lewis, the regional director at OUR. And by the way, Beth, I really have to thank you because you have texted me, here and there over the year and given me some wonderful guests. So thank you for that. Like Sean Stone and, various people.
Nice. Yeah, well, let's keep it up because
okay, please. I would love that.
It's funny. Your brother gets funny. He says, you better not be sharing any of my guests. I said, only with your sister.
Jeez.
And he says, so.
I gotta like punch him sometimes. What?
Rivalry.
I know. No. Not with me. I love my little brother. I've always loved my little brother. He's so cute. No, but listen. Wait.
Your sister's with both. She's fighting on the other side.
Oh, I know.
Patrice.
I know.
Now that I'm sorry I put her name is Patricia in the book, I got that wrong then.
Oh, that's okay. Patrice. That's okay. Yeah. That's okay. And yes, my sister is with me. She's always with me.
Yeah, because the point is we go on for sure.
Oh, so we have a step forward here with Sound of Freedom. Because really, that was a big deal. I was like, why hasn't this film come out yet? What is going on here?
Right.
We talk about the Luciferian agenda.
Well, that was the distribution. Yeah, the distribution. No one would distribute it.
Right.
They blocked
it. It's been picked up. So we're going to be able to watch that. And so, we are making steps forward, even though
Paul is working. We are, and we've got a lot going on here. Paul's working on this platform called Eclipse, which is going to be a platform that can't be taken down.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
To be like but was looking at it, and also he's got Masterpiece Films, which is masterpiece like PEACE, masterpiece.
Send me those links. Yeah,
I will. And we've got all these slates of, because the thing is, we're going to need all this good content. So he's got a lot of people like ready to invest, and then then we can just start greenlighting as all this comes down. Just that's what I see us doing, just greenlighting good content, because we're going to need to flood the airwaves with good content.
Oh, Beth, we need that. Yes. We need that because we can redirect our consciousness to the good stuff.
You realize we can even put like good the right frequency music in the markets, in the banks, and everything can be.
Yes.
Everything.
Like they do in the grocery stores, right? Anytime I walk in, if they're playing 80s music, oh, I'm just buying stuff. I'm dancing.
That's great. Yeah. The thing is, they've been keeping us, everything's been in under this spell. That's all going to be broken. Once that's all gone, and then we run with it with all the natural abundance that life offers.
Right.
I mean, we all have everything we need, really. Do you think once all the stolen money comes back, all the people that were robbed, they'll all be restored.
How close do you think we are? Are we at the tipping point? I mean, what do you think?
We're really, really close. Yeah, how Juan always talks about the near-death experience.
Yeah.
And I mean, even Derek is feeling like, well, if we're having tribunals this summer, we've got to be pretty close to public revelation.
Close, right?
Yeah, I feel like it's really close.
I do too. Yes. I mean, otherwise, I don't know. It's like it's a.
And I just pray for those on the front lines, because so many have died already fighting for us, because this is a big deal. When they go in to take these people out, we lose a lot of people.
Right.
But they're warriors, and they're, they're, and what else is, it's interesting too, a lot of this, the fallen angel stuff, supposedly a lot of the fallen angels are going to reappear too. Like Archangel Michael is supposed to stand down at God's direction, and then they come out. I mean, that's why it's really so important. Like Christ said, men's hearts will fail. That's why we have to be in Christ, because we're going to see things that are like,
Like,
you know,
yeah, like the Dalai Lama.
No, even worse, maybe the Giants. I know your brother loves all the Giants. I said,
yeah, he loves all the Giants. I have to admit, though, I was
because
really
all that stuff is
laughing.
true. You know, Smithsonian, they lie. Every time they find a discovery, they get rid of it. Oh, you
Yeah,
know, they've been covering all the truth for everything for so long. Everything has been a lie except like God, you know, Christ, our friends, our love, our family, all the rest of it. So it's going to
been a
be
lie.
great to, you know, read all the education system to be able to, you know, free up everyone
Yes.
from all those concepts, you
Well,
know, because concepts are what gets away.
what do you think of what's happening right now with women and the trans agenda?
I
And
know,
I just,
horrible. And it all goes from that same thing. It's that same protocols of the elders of Zion, the thing Ye tried to talk about, you know, not the good Jewish people, but that nameless thing that we can't talk about, which had the protocols of the elders of Zion. They brought into the Sabbatean, there was a Sabbatean Messiah. Sabbaty Levi was the Messiah in 1666. Half of the European Jews followed him. The path was redemption through sin, which is ridiculous, right? But it was popular, probably because people probably like the idea. I mean, we all probably been in that position where that sounds good. I want to join that cult. I mean, they had that Rasputin was that in Russia.
yes,
Was that.
Rasputin's one of my favorite stories. Yes.
Yeah. So all that, and we've all been guilty of going towards that kind of a direction. But the point is, this has been on steroids in a program brought down to us through, like, for example, Bella Dodd. She was a Marxist that put 1,300 pedo priests in the Catholic Church, you know, to start all this mess. These things have all been planned. So the feminism was created not to help women, but to get them out of the house, to destroy the family, to get more, you know, tax money from them, and basically, have them not need men and destroy just the whole creation God did, the family, the beautiful family that God created. They want to destroy that because they know that's our real foundation.
Yeah.
And so, no, it's horrible. In fact, and that's why right now you can see it's on steroids. It's coming at us from every direction because they know they don't have much time.
I truly believe it is on steroids. I mean, it's obvious.
This is where we have to stand up as the remnant and say no. We just have to stand. I mean, I'm standing. I mean, 7 years when this all started in 2016, God said to me, I had to have Trump's back, you know, because for my grandchildren. Yeah. And then now lately it's been more like having Nick Fuentes back. I don't know if you know Nick Fuentes. Everyone hates him. He's the most, I did a kid's book on him too.
Let me see.
And I did a kid's, And all he wants to do is have people like live like under Christ. That's all he's asking. But they're calling him a white supremacist because the ADL, all those are owned by these fake Jews, right? That are causing all this problem. I did one on Ye too.
Oh, look at you. This is great.
I'm doing a whole series on everybody.
My goodness.
Because I'm trying to translate what they're really saying, because the ADL and I mean, like, why do all our Congress people have Israeli passports? Like, what he said the other day made a lot of sense. He said it should be God first, America second, not Israel first, America second. Yeah. You know, it's like, and the thing is, when we go back to see how the state of Israel was created, World War I and World War II, the World Jewish Congress, they blackmailed basically Wilson and then Roosevelt to steal Palestine to create the state of Israel through the British, the Balfour Agreement. That's why it's always been such a mess. And they did it because they want to do their third temple and their Antichrist and they want to make the Bible happen like their version of it. You know, that's what this whole thing is about in a nutshell. But the point is, so they've created like, they fund the ADL and the SPLC, you know, the ones that say we're all white supremacists, that we're all terrorists, because we don't want our children to be fed, you know, all this LBGT. And look what it started, LBGT. Now it's like they want pedophilia, they want zoophilia, they want bestiality. It's going to keep going and going and going because it is satanic origin. It's that Pharisee. It's that, it's the ones that said let it be on us and our children. Yeah, it's not the regular Israeli, Hebrew, Jewish people. And like, for example, my husband's Jewish. I can't be anti-Semitic. Right. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't know what a Talmud is. The Talmud, I mean, real Jews, like Mel Kay says it. She reads the Torah, the 5 books of the Torah. They're the Old Testament. It's beautiful. No problem. The Talmud, totally written by these fallen angels. It's all about Christ boiling an excrement, Mary being a whore, bad stuff. That has to be exposed. So the point is, the Jewish people themselves are going to be the most grateful when we finally expose these identity thefts fake Jews that Christ talked about, the synagogue of Satan, fake Jews. He talked about it, that are Jews that are not Jews. So that's all I'm saying. I hope your show gets up on YouTube
Oh,
now.
don't worry
So
about it. By the way, speaking of Mel K, is Mel K still in New York? What's happened to her? Mel K.
I think so. I don't know. I haven't really chatted to her lately. I mean,
Oh, okay.
I traded emails sometime, but I think she still stayed in between New York and Palm Beach or something.
Oh, okay. No, just curious. That's just a name that I haven't heard in a while.
It's just such a funny time because it's like Q said in Q, they said Israel's being saved for last for a reason not mentioned once. And a lot of it is because it's so deeply indoctrinated in our,
yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
It's hard. I just got kicked today. I happened to put the movie I sent you yesterday, this greatest story never told.
Yeah.
I put it on a worldwide Christian chat. Oh my God. It blew up in 30 seconds. Oh my God. It's like, I'm just like, no, my husband's Jewish. It didn't work. They kicked me off. I had the head pastor call me up. It's like, that's why this is, I don't know how they're going to do it. They're going to have to just gently, little by little, expose, like, for example, how 9/11 happened. Who was behind that? I mean, that was Mossad.
Oh boy.
These things are going to have to come little by little so people can, and then they're going to have to see all the vaccine. They're going to have to see a lot of stuff that we haven't seen. So once I guess they have to get that out, and then we'll be able to get the people that need to go to Gitmo, right? Those people that need to go to Gitmo. And
this is everything that Nino talks about, on Nino's Corner. And
no, it's great he has that platform.
And
that's why it's great. This guy we're building the platform with, he did ESPN and he did HBO Go, but he's like so genius that he can make it not be taken down by all those things that take them down.
Yeah.
But I was saying to Paul, we're really close to being funded. I said it'd be interesting because now we're nobodies. We're little nobodies, right? Be interesting if once we get that up, if that power comes around us.
Well, you know what I mean? Yeah.
So I have a feeling we may be coming up as they go down. So we'll see.
So do we have a name for this platform yet? Did you just
Eclipse?
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, and I like it because it's going to eclipse all the rest. Because guess what else?
I like that.
Not only does it give you everything all the other platforms give you, but it's going to pay the viewer.
What?
You get paid for watching because there's enough money for everyone. All this has just been sucked off by the same people we can't talk about.
Yeah.
About.
This sounds like our learn to earn videos over with the switch to America.
All right.
They pay you to learn and educate yourself. It's a great idea. Really.
It is a great idea. And the point is, it's all possible because the money's not being stolen.
Yeah. Right.
That's it. So
you're such a wealth of knowledge, Beth. You always I got on today and I was talking to Liz. I'm like, oh, Liz, do you have any questions for, Liz Bascom?
Oh yeah.
She says hello. She says hello. I said, do you have any questions for Beth? She's like, she is such a wealth of knowledge. I'm like, you're right. I'm just going to get on and chit chat with her. And
I thought the same thing. I thought, what are we going to talk about? And I thought, oh God, I'm not going to try to control it. I just pray beforehand and
Beth, that's what I thought too. I said, you know what? Let's just see what happens. And I
think that's why I'm not on your brother's channel. He's afraid.
Hey, I've never been on my brother's channel. I don't know what that's all about.
We should both go on. We should go on together.
Let him know. Say, hey, we're coming on. You have no choice.
I was coming on today, so I'll tell him. So yeah, that's what we decided. We decided on the show we should both come on.
Say, we're going to embarrass you. It'll be fun. Oh, Beth, thank you so much. I love the statue that you have on the back. That's the
he's I just love the whole fact. I've really gotten into the Book of Enoch and just all the extra biblical knowledge, and really everything is there. This story has gone on from the beginning, and I just am so grateful for all the angels and that are really on our behalf under the Creator. They're
too.
They're gonna kick ass.
You always infuse such positivity and inspiration, and thank you, because I feel like I needed that today. I
did too, and it's funny, I need to share it. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of like
that.
It's like God in both of us. It's like a circle of love it's in both of us, and that's why they say where two or more are gathered.
Right.
You can't do it to yourself. Just like that confession thing. A lot of people don't like confession. Oh, why do I have to tell another person? But see, that's why AA works. You're telling the other person. That's why confession at Catholicism works. You're telling another person. It's not about the priest. It's really because you're really humbling yourself.
You're really humbling yourself.
Really humbling yourself because it's just you and God. God will forgive you anything if it's just you and God. Let's face it. I mean, I kind of asked God to forgive me for a lot of things before I got sober, and he probably did, but it didn't really work until I,
Yeah.
It was funny before I wasn't really Catholic before I got sober. So when I did the steps, I was trying to get out of that step 5, where you have to tell another person.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to go to the Catholic church at confession, but I'm not even Catholic. I wasn't even Catholic then. And then I thought, but I was so afraid of that thing of telling another person. And then actually it just got so bad. I literally, that day I had gotten in an accident. I literally felt the disease, the ism, pull me out on the Pacific Coast Highway. I ran into another car and I got into an accident. Thank God everyone was all right. But I knew it wasn't me. It was that ism that, because I'd had a half of a Xanax or half of a beer the day before I had a relapse. And I went that day to get my sponsor. Sponsor is really, and then from then on, I was like smooth sailing. And the sponsor is the one that you just tell all your dirt to.
Wow.
And the great thing is when you tell your dirt, guess what?
Yeah. It holds you accountable.
Yeah. And then guess what? After that session where I just spilled all my dirt to this person who really doesn't care, she's just standing in for God, because both of you are never going to tell anyone else because it's a total, privacy thing. But the funny thing is when I left there, all the guilt and shame was lifted off of me.
Right. That's the point.
And best thing, I could see myself. I could see my own character defects. So I didn't have to do them anymore.
That's amazing.
And I didn't have that before I shared with another person.
It gave you clarity on your character defects, which we all have.
See, some people say that too when they come. That's what they get in confession too. Then they can try to be better because they can, get that more. So
right. Like when I go to church and I sing and pray and cry and listen and I leave there with more clarity on myself.
It's not just obviously it's not just alcoholics addicts. It's all of us.
All of us.
We all want to be our authentic divine selves. How can we stand up in our authentic divinity? These are like tools.
Well, you know what? I had an interview today, for this leadership magazine, and they were asking me, and he was really digging in, and he's like, well, if there's one consistent theme here or a thread that's really helped you in the past year, like, and I said, oh, besides just like trudging away or, not trudging away, but being determined and carrying on, I'm like, accountability. I said, I have accountability with the women I link arms with. We hold each other up. And we hold each other accountable, and I can call them and complain or talk or hammer things out. But you're right. It's that thing where, you get it.
Yeah. It's teamwork is divine. Teamwork is divine. And we think we can do it all ourselves, but we actually
can't.
And we're much less powerful. We lose our power when we try to do it ourselves.
Yeah. And everybody has that blind spot.
Yes.
There's these blind spots where you don't realize, or you might say, oh, I'm sorry, but you didn't really mean it. You did it the next day. You didn't really repent.
Or then it's like in all the ages past, all these great like saints or great spiritual people, they all had mentors or people they would run things by.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They did.
Important.
It is because it's easy to just get into because then we fall back. That's one of the things I like about the 12th step because it's about staying sober and helping another alcoholic. Because if you just stayed sober and you didn't, that's where you start to get back in your own little ego.
In your own little selfish world.
And you don't need anyone else. Whereas if I have to go, if I'm reaching out to another alcoholic or another person, I'm asking for help and I have to humble myself. And then I have to be humble when someone asks me to be there for them. Yeah.
And then because at the same time, you're helping that person.
Yeah. And then the funny thing is, it really helps you more than them, which I'm sure you've experienced. If you help someone out of your heart, you actually get more out of it. It's like giving is better than receiving, right?
You do. It's like this, the giving is living is giving.
Yeah. And it's true. And the people that get that have the happy lives, right? Because you feel the joy and you start to, it's like a circle. Like if I'm in gratitude, it's like joy and gratitude is a circle. And appreciation, I find, like everyone says, love, like, oh, love. I can't love if I don't appreciate you.
Yeah.
I need to have appreciation. And then my love kind of starts to come out. if I'm appreciating and I'm grateful for you, I'm starting to
Absolutely.
love you more. And that's like a process from the heart. The mind can't give us that.
Right.
The mind can't give, but the heart can.
But the heart can.
That's why everything is about taking the pause, right? Living in the pause. So you're in the reality of, like, that's why I love Kabir says, the fish in the ocean is thirsty and it makes me laugh. Because we're the fish in the ocean of God. We're
Oh, I love that.
it's all, and another great one, I love this one.
We're the fish in the ocean of
Fish
God.
in the ocean of God.
That is
And
great.
and then they're laughing. He's laughing because they're thirsty. The fish are thirsty. But
Yeah.
here's one. You're gonna love this one. I love this one. Everyone knows the ocean, the drops are in the ocean, but very few know the ocean is in the drop, like God in us. We all know that everyone's like in God, but to personally know God in each of us, that's powerful.
Wow.
Because then you're almost like, well, you're kind of speechless. I'm kind of speechless right now. Like,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
the whole point I have this life is to let God be me. You know what I mean? Not me be God, but let God.
Right.
Yeah, like be like his Barbie dolls. Remember I told you that before? We're like God's Barbie dolls. He moves us around as Barbie and Ken dolls. And if we can just have fun with that and be led by him, protected by him, trust him completely, everything
Wow.
works.
Walk in the image of Christ,
It's like, I love that imitation of Christ. I listen to
Yeah.
that. Those
Yeah.
kind of things, because if we're doing what he said, if we're in Christ 24/7, and of course we fall off, but if we keep getting back on,
Yeah. Yeah.
back on, we're like, okay. And
Okay.
yeah,
Back on. Well, I appreciate you,
amazing.
Beth. I appreciate you from my heart to your heart. And
I love it.
thank
Come
you.
to Malibu. Come to Malibu sometime.
Hey,
Family.
I would love to. I would love to. I know
Yeah.
David's popped out there a few times, right? I think
Yeah, he was down with our crazy neighbor Alki, who's amazing.
yes.
But yeah,
Wait a minute.
it's not far. It's only like a 7-hour drive, I think, from
Okay,
out.
I'll come visit. And hold on a second. He gave me some of that C60.
Oh,
The
yeah, Carbon 60. That's good. Yeah, Alki David. He's amazing. He's Paul's doing a documentary of him right now because he's
no.
saving California. He's amazing. He's spent millions on fighting Newsom, Gloria Aldred, Tom Girardi, Lisa Bloom, all these career criminals, Pelosi,
Yeah.
and he's got them. They're all about to go to jail now, and they've come after him. But he's just like, he's relentless. He's like Trump. He won't stop.
Yeah.
With a
That's what I heard.
yeah,
But
he's great.
the C60 is supposed to
Yeah,
be.
he also has Swiss X. Carbon 60 is amazing, and he's got a great brand of
Mhm.
it. Yeah.
Okay, well, I might have to.
I'll tell you about the Carbon 60. Guess what makes it so appealing? They did a test on mice, and the mice that had the Carbon 60 had the best longevity. They lived way longer than the
Well, it
mice.
fights inflammation, right?
Yeah, and that must make sense. Inflammation is what gets you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, again, my brother told me about it, and I did order some of it, and I did feel like a little bit of a spike. Um, I need to get some more. I kind of tore through it.
You remind me, I need to get some too for Paul.
Right? We but
But you know what? I'll tell you another thing too. It's again, when you go inside this practice, just because you're synced with the creator inside, it's not only that cup runneth over, actually your pituitary gland, not the pineal gland, that it drips that fluid. It's physical, like people have checked this out of people that are practicing knowledge. It's actually a physiological thing too. The pineal gland drips that natural DMT or whatever it's called, something good inside. And it also heals your body. It heals your body because again, when you're in sync with your divine body, it's going to affect all of your cells, everything. It just does.
I am checking this out right now, and I'm going to post these links.
Yeah.
And
Awesome. That's great. I can't wait to see you again. And let me know, and I'll send you some people for the show if you want.
Thank you. Yes, I would love that.
And we'll tag team on David to get us.
Tell him. Say, we're tag teaming. We're going to corner you.
All right.
Nino's corner. Love you.
I'll let you go.
Thank you, Beth.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.